Okay guys, our players hate both of our episodes. They're leaving at a rapid pace and everyone hates us because of the awful decisions we've made. How do we get these players back? Well, we've dug every concept we've done out of their graves. What else can we do?
What about Keitel turns evil?
No! No one cares about the Cabal anymore.
Alright, well, how about the Hive?
Yes! Play it safe. I like that. Bring back Oryx again. Whoa, why is he... But we already did that by bringing King's Fall back and putting him in Ghost of the Deep. I don't care! Bring back Oryx, the fans will love it. They love it when we regurgitate the same ideas so that they can point at the screen and shout, I know what that is! So to absolutely no one's surprise, episode Heresy is really, really good. It's actually quite surprising just how good this episode is from almost every single aspect. I'm aware that Bungie is usually known for their good final seasons, as for the most part they tend to be quite good, but by better it usually means trying something new, or the activity is better, or the weapons are really good, or there's more content. But when Bungie brought up the idea of episodes and described them, this is what I thought the standard was going to be. It turns out that this is really the exception. The season begins with this short mission getting onto the Dreadnought. I wasn't really expecting much here, maybe showing off the villain, some kind of giant threat that's going to put us all at risk, but I was thoroughly surprised when Eris fucking died. Kinda. This scene was sold incredibly well thanks to Todd Habercolm? I think I got it. Anyway, this scene is sold exceptionally well thanks to Todd absolutely killing it as the Drifter. You can really hear the hate and the sorrow in his voice.
It's taken her deeper in the Dreadnought. Hold on, Moondust. We can't leave her. We need to get Eris out of here. We need... Help! Please, anyone!
So far, it's one of the best characters of the episode. This leads us to Eris's apartment where we listen to a tape of the people she appreciates in her life. It's really heartwarming, and it's nice to get this insight into how she feels about other people in the game. And I appreciate that we get some final moments with her character. Now, this would be a lot more impactful if they didn't show literally right fucking after that she's still alive in the throne world. Like, imagine if right after seeing Gandalf supposedly die in Fellowship of the Ring, we cut to him killing the Balrog right after, showing us that the fall didn't kill him. It would be pretty stupid. For a studio that can have some surprisingly good presentation, they're also really good at fucking it up. I really don't like this, and surprisingly enough, this is going to be one of my largest issues of the entire episode as a whole. We shouldn't have been shown that Eris is alive until much later. Allow us to mourn her death before showing us this. Besides Eris, we're the only ones who know that she isn't dead. Not like our character, the player, knows that she isn't dead, and I fail to understand how we benefit at all from knowing that she's still alive. In fact, I think it would have been a benefit based on the amount of discourse that would likely come from the community speculating about her death, the amount of videos that would come out of wondering, did she actually die, or did she go into her throne world? I know it seems like a minor gripe to a lot of people, but this is a fairly large factor when discussing these stories and how they're presented, which will become an issue later. After this, we begin the first seasonal activity, the Nether. No, not the one from Minecraft, you fucking child. No, it's not funny after the 50th time you made that joke, and the movie was total shit. Now, I thought the coil from Season of the Wish was just fine. It wasn't some amazing work of roguelike mechanics or anything. I saw what it could be, but it didn't go much further than that. And besides me liking only a couple of the weapons here, I didn't really see much of a purpose in grinding them. The Nether, on the other hand, is great. To start with the basics, you have this area with 3 main objectives, ranging from shooting some orange shit to killing a boss. In said area, there are materials, chests, and collectibles to be found in the meantime, and there are also a set number of respawns and non-regenerating health. Already, this adds more stakes than infinite respawns ever could. In order to gain more health, you need to find healing orbs, use abilities, or have teammates heal you. Now, there is a final option, using boons. Boons are upgrades that you acquire by completing objectives in the Nether. They range from passives, like gaining a burst of health when you use your class ability, to more offensive options like sliding, creating stasis crystals. We're not exactly at Destiny Rising levels of insane by allowing us to use only abilities and no guns, but maybe someday. There are also major boons which have a buff and a debuff attached to it. A lot of them don't really seem like a good trade-off to me. No, I don't want to move faster at the cost of a slower reload when I can get the amplified boon, which gives me a speed boost without the downside of a slower reload. I mean, one of my favorite perks in a game like Risk of Rain 2 is egocentrism. Now, I know know that a lot of people may not like the item, but I do. It takes your items at random and converts them into bombs that are automatically lobbed at enemies. I always have a blast when I get it, and I find it to be a great time to mess around with. What I'd really like to see from Bungie is something like this. A perk that on its surface can be annoying and potentially ruin a run, but if used correctly can make your kit incredibly broken. Stuff like this is what makes my mind run wild. While I think this is possibly another step towards Bungie creating an actual roguelike mode, as disappointing as it is to say, because we say it ad nauseum, there's tons of potential here. But I think investing in a roguelike gameplay loop is going to be the future of Destiny. I just wish Bungie would invest more in it across the entire game, or make a completely new game that's just a hybrid MMO roguelike.
Destiny 3!
After all 3 objectives are completed, a boss spawns that isn't super unique. It's just a normal enemy, but it's big and it deals more damage. By far the most interesting boss is the Chimera from the Forsaken campaign, which is literally just pulled straight from the Forsaken campaign. The rest of the bosses are just a big guy with big health. But this is pretty much my biggest gameplay issue. Why can't we have some more unique bosses, with unique abilities or mechanics required to beat them, because simply damaging them just isn't fun or interesting as some sort of mechanic that forces us to think about our surroundings, positioning, and what we have to do to beat the boss. I mean, hell, even the enemies are different. And yeah, that's right, you heard me correct. The Taken enemies are actually different and have abilities and attributes to make their inclusion here unique and interesting. This completely took me by surprise too. I never expected Bungie to actually do it, but sure enough they did. Good job, guys, you did it! Some enemies, upon killing them, spawn blight bombs. Others spawn war beasts. And there are these Taken eyes that, as far as I know, are new. I like that we're getting new shit. This is what I asked for in both Echoes and Revenant. Even some small changes to change up the way that enemies so they aren't just the same way they've been for 10 years. I also don't think I've ever seen these eyes before, but holy shit, they're one of the scarier enemies in Destiny. We need to get back on track with the story. Oryx is back as the Echo of Navigation. He finds out that we killed him, and as a based follower of the sword logic is like,
"Oh dude, that's fucking sick. You should become the new Taken King."
And then Xivu Arath is all like, and Oryx just legit doesn't care about her. And then Savathun shows up and is all like, the sword logic is gay and we shouldn't follow it. It's a lie anyway, we're free to walk our own path now. And then Oryx calls her a heretic.
Hey guys, he said it.
I like how this is almost a dissection of Destiny's lore. Bungie is looking into what they've wrote and is asking, okay, how can we apply things like the sword logic and the Tablets of Ruin to our current world and characters in a way that follows the lore instead of changing it? And personally, I'm a fan. Now to be very clear, I'm no lore scholar. There's definitely shit that I'm gonna miss, but from my knowledge, this story overall is great and fits with the actual lore and the story of Destiny. What isn't great is how randomly text boxes will appear from characters like Drifter and Sloan, just like while you're in orbit or doing other things. Particularly Sloan not having a voice. It just becomes a text box at the bottom of your screen. It's really weird, it throws me off, and it just never made any sense to me when I saw it. Like, what's the context of this? Why is this here? Why are we seeing this in orbit with nothing else going on? It's strange to me. Now you may have noticed that I mentioned that Sloan doesn't have a voice, and how when I had Xivu Arath talk, it was in complete silence. This is due to the voice actor strike, and although I understand why it's happening, I understand why some of this stuff couldn't have been put in the game, it still decreases my overall quality of the content, regardless if the issue is in Bungie's control or not. How much more impactful would it be if we could verbally hear Xivu question and be bewildered by what the fuck Oryx is proposing? It would make what was already a really interesting scene a whole lot better, but unfortunately, we don't have that. And while the writing is good, the presentation, as mentioned at the start, leaves much to be desired. After all this, Savathun meets with us and tells us to fuck off and leave her family matters alone. Now normally, I would agree to this because I'm a cool guy like that, but the game tells me otherwise, so we have to continue with the story. The armor this season is something. I don't know what the fuck happened to the Warlock. This helmet is just terrible. Usually I'm someone who's a fan of the crazier and wild looking armor sets, but this Warlock set is just one I'm not a huge fan of. It looks like a Spore character or a Down syndrome beetle. Now the Battle Pass armor on the other hand, that is really nice. I fuck with this heavy. Texture and the color remind me of almost a whale's mouth, which I guess makes sense considering that the Dreadnought is literally similar to a dead whale carcass at the bottom of the sea that has been gutted and repurposed as a spaceship. But anyway, I really like this armor, and as per usual, Bungie loves to cook with the Battle Pass armor. The weapons here are another highlight for me. The weapons are fun to use and visually look great. We finally got a new support frame auto rifle, which is really good. It can have stuff like hatchling and also reciprocity that can heal you. And in yet again, the grenade launchers being the GOAT of the season, Psychopomp has been one of my favorite weapons to use the entire season, with stuff like Rolling Storm just absolutely shitting on the competition. There's also the sword that I don't give a fuck about. There's a linear fusion that would have been good like 2 years ago, and there's also the machine gun that is admittedly really good. I'm gonna be honest, any machine gun with killing tally is already towards the top of my list. In terms of the visual design of the weapons, Bungie took the issue of not being able to create new or interesting weapon designs for some fucking reason and decided to peel the weapons back to reveal all these weird bones and shit. It's a smart way to make the weapons look cool instead of just lazily slapping some shitty rusted metal on top. And while the quote-unquote shiny versions of weapons in Revenant was literally just a masterworked version of the weapon, in Heresy on the other hand, we have Adept weapons which have the Adept look to them, although I will say this gold and green that Bungie has been going with for Adept weapons just isn't it. I don't believe there's a single person on this planet who actually likes this color scheme. And for the no one who does, I hear the gas chambers are a really nice vacation spot. They're open 24/7, you might like it there. The older Adept design for some of the Trials of Osiris weapons is great, and I don't know why the fuck this version wasn't made for all weapons. I'm not a fan of the Adept look, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be changing, and it's here to stay. Act 2 is also pretty damn good. Not as strong as Act 1, but still pretty good. We have a new activity in the form of the Court of Blades. This is basically just shoot a bunch of shit, but we have actual mechanics and modifiers here that will change how you interact with the mode. It's for the more sophisticated wife beaters at the wife beating factory. Maybe the managers. Basically, the entire mode is you go into a room, you kill a boss, and you get out. But there are side objectives that will increase your score, like standing on a plate with a symbol above it that matches with the symbol in the center of the arena to do damage to the boss, or just simply killing a certain amount of enemies within the time limit. And instead of these side objectives being put into something way more important, like the amount of gear that you get at the end of the fucking thing, completing side objectives is instead put towards points that you can spend on getting upgrades to your character during the activity. And these perks are insanely powerful. This can range from getting ammo when killing enemies with grenades, melee, or class abilities, all the way up to killing enemies with melee abilities grants unlimited grenades for a short duration. Some straight exotic armor type shit. So there are some insanely powerful perks here as long as you're willing to save your points or spend them correctly. They can genuinely change how a run will feel as well. I found myself enjoying this activity a lot more than I thought I would. Sure, I don't enjoy it nearly as much as the Nether, but I still had a really good time with it. The weapons here are actually fairly fun as well. The sidearm has some strong ass perks, the fusion rifle makes my brain feel good, the glaive is a glaive, so I like it, the SMG sounds great, and the bow is a bow, which maybe I'm not the biggest fan of this one, but it still also feels really good. So now with the story, Oryx is convinced that we need to be the new Taken King, so he creates this Court of Blades for us to prove our worth, while Xivu Arath on the other hand is sending in her army in an attempt to kill us to prove to Oryx that the Hive have more of a right to the throne than we do, and we all know how that shit goes. And now with the side plot, as if we already didn't know it, Eris is in fact alive. Basically, she needs to extend the story a bit by having us find shards of Oryx's sword to cut into the Ascendant Plane. So just as like a sidebar thing, something I don't really know and I don't want to look up, just tell me in the comments, is that are the Hive Ascendant Planes different from the ones that Queen Mara and Riven use? Because they looked very distinctly different, and I don't know if there's something with the lore or something like that. I don't really know, but either way, we continue with the quest and do it like mindless drones. After doing some small objectives, we do a mission that was actually a decent amount of fun. I enjoyed my time with it. We find out in a little side part of the story that there is another presence using the Taken for their own deeds. That isn't Oryx. So even after Oryx and the Witness, we have an explanation for why the Taken are still around, I guess. In reality, Bungie has created a game that desperately wants to change but can't at the same time. It's a topic for another time, but it holds the game back in a lot more ways than you think. Savathun gives Oryx a little sit down and explains to him that the sword logic is a complete lie and he has a little bitch fit. Eventually though, Oryx comes to question everything.
Oryx, the Witness is dead. It lied to you.
We saw the syzygy, sister, and we dove to avert doom. I followed you to the...
Let me cut to the truth. The God Wave wasn't the Traveler. We were chosen for light, and the Witness gave us chains. But I can break us out of this game.
Deceit is your language.
We've both been played since the beginning. Look, this is Imaru, my ghost.
Light pawn! Where is my cunning sister? She would never allow such heresy.
And what do you call what you are now, if not heresy?
Enough! Does my blade not cut? Its edge is truth. Do ties not sink my form? Are logic, gold, and violence?
You're an inanimate object, dear brother. Your blade cuts nothing.
I do not accept this. I will navigate through each manipulation from the beginning, and I will divine the truth alone.
Which, if he finds the truth, could be our detriment since he'll most likely side with Savathun. And if he believes the sword logic to be a lie, the chance of us getting the throne is next to none. So we really need to speed up the process of tying Oryx to Eris. Eris also wants to hold onto the Echo so that she can learn more about it and possibly grab more power in her continuous war against the Hive Pantheon. But if shit hits the fan, Oryx's sword will be used to destroy the Echo and, in turn, Oryx forever. Because killing him during the campaign and the raid and stopping his resurrection and the raid again clearly wasn't enough. This is successful, and we trap Oryx into the throne world, and, well, damn, Eris has a throne world. And it genuinely looks really cool, almost like this eerie kind of library type thing. I really fuck with it. I also just want to mention that I do not give a fuck about anyone else in Destiny now besides Eris and the Drifter and maybe a couple other characters. Ikora, gay. Zavala, boring. Crow, he's alright. Osiris, gay, and also pointless. Drifter just might be my favorite character in the entire Destiny series at this point. I really love what they've done with him throughout this series, and I really hope they continue to do really cool shit with him for years to come. Anyway, time to go back to literally the best cutscene to come out of all the episodes. Like, listen, I know the Revenant one is peak, but then this is a higher peak. This is better than peak. This is the GOAT. The cinematography here is amazing. The stills with the rotating camera goes hard as fuck. The scale of everything is amazing. The transitions with the sword slicing through the foreground, it's wonderful.
I formed my throne with the stroke of a sword, as the Hive gods did long ago. Their tribute in blood coalesced into words. You have seen Oryx's throne, his dreadnought, his court, what he called the High Wall. Here, the memory of the Taken King recognizes his equal, his killer, his heir. But his sisters will come to claim him as brother and as instrument of power. Zevul Arath was sundered from her throne as she was sundered from her siblings. She would retake it all and return to their path of death and conquest. While Savathun in her high coven, having claimed the light, wishes to escape. Both the vows made to the worms and the lie that drove the siblings to that bargain. But their designs will be unmade. Their desires, their undoing. I name my throne the High Heresy, formed in opposition to the Hive. Here I am Heresiarch. Here I am Jailer. For my throne will be Oryx's prison.
There's more than just the pretty visuals though. We also learn that Eris wants to jail Oryx and the Echo inside of her throne world, while Sloane, the cat lady, wants to destroy it altogether. Eris's bloodlust for revenge is getting larger and larger, and she's continuing to steal the power from several members of the Hive Pantheon. This almost seems like the peak. If Eris can get a hold of this power, hell, she might even figure out how to take. Imagine how fucking crazy that would be. And now finally we have Act 3. Here we have more story, a return of the Sunless Cell Strike, but no new weapons or exotic missions, thank fucking god. The strike itself is fine. I'm pretty happy that the Shriekers have been dealt with, since it was my least favorite part of the entire strike on Destiny 1. Like, this part was genuinely the biggest pain in the ass to play, and now that Shriekers aren't as bad, I can deal with it. Removing those fucking heat-seeking void things that would stick around after it died for literal years was really nice to see gone. But the biggest downgrade by far is the Darkblade fight itself. The lack of actual darkness in the area is pretty stupid. Like, look at this area in Destiny 1. It's fucking dark. You can barely see anything. It's easy for him to sneak up on you and kill you. Here, it's not dark at all, which is incredibly disappointing and completely destroys the whole point of it being called the Darkblade. Anyway, we kill the Darkblade, Xivu gets even more angry, and we continue to build back Oryx's sword as a backup plan to slay Oryx in case something goes wrong. The plans have been made, the sword is assembled, and it's now time for the final plan to begin. It starts by killing the Subjugator from the beginning of the story. Wait, you don't remember that guy? Yeah, this one here. You know this guy? The one who killed Eris. Nah, well, I wouldn't be surprised if you forgot him, because he's done literally nothing since killing Eris. But anyway, it's now our time to kill him. We gotta kill him now, I guess. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really understand his inclusion in the campaign at all. Like, besides killing Eris, it contributed nothing to the story, and I would have rather it come from someone like Xivu killing Eris. I'm not exactly sure how that would play out, since although I'm interested in the Hive Pantheon, I find it a bit confusing and there's a lot of lore, so I don't know, maybe if Xivu killed Eris then she would be dead for good or something. But I feel like it would be a lot more impactful if Xivu killed Eris rather than just some subjugator that we kill in, like, what, a mission? I guess the subjugator was supposed to be the new leader of the Dread using the Echo of Navigation. We already have so much story crammed in here with regarding the war of the originators of the fucking Hive that I find the inclusion of the Dread kind of stupid and like a bit much. Anyway, we kill the subjugator, and now Oryx is kind of trapped in a corner like a space rat. And as we go to kill him, Savathun is extremely fucking mad, and she is no longer friends with us, which, might I add, sounds retarded. Like, oh no, we're not friends anymore? What a tragedy. To be fair, I understand why Savathun is so upset. We have kind of used her non-stop to no real benefit of her own besides, I guess, not killing her. She did help us stop the Witness, even if the want was mutual. I feel somewhat bad for fucking her over this hard, but who cares? Maybe we'll see her in the Witch Queen Part 2. Well, after killing Savathun's projections and getting her out of the way, Oryx tries one final attempt to kill the Guardian. And this is also unsuccessful for him, and now he's backed into a corner with nowhere to run, and he accepts his fate.
I have already failed. As my sisters have become heretics, so too have I. Long ago, Oryx was killed. If I am still Oryx, then I am already dead. And if I am not Oryx, then I do not live. Ayat. That is enough.
Oryx returned believing his sisters are heretics, his legacy and throne destroyed, and even to a certain degree believing himself to be a heretic. What an awful way to go out. But genuinely, this story is like a tragedy, like a classic Shakespearean-style tragedy. I cannot think of a worse end for anyone in this entire series. So defeated by a destruction of his entire belief system, his closest confidants breaking the rules he swore his life to, his army gone, his family lost, and now he's trapped at the edge of a ship he created with nowhere to go but accept death. I don't think anyone in this entire series has accepted death like Oryx has to.
At least the stars will remember the shape I gave them.
So as it stands, Oryx is now dead, for good this time. Xivu is angry as always, but now Savathun is a sworn enemy. All this episode did was continue to make the Dread directionless, the Hive angry, and that's about it. Although it kinda helped push forward the story for the Edge of Fate, which I'll discuss in the conclusion, not a lot is wrapped up. Heresy overall was really good. The ending left a lot open and answered less questions than I was hoping, but I really enjoyed the fight amongst the Hive. I enjoyed their conflict, and I wish we had an entire actual campaign about it. Before we conclude though, we need to talk about some of the side content because there was some of it that I didn't discuss. There's a secret exotic mission to get Barrow Dyad, which is a decent amount of fun. I enjoyed having to go around and do all these puzzles that aren't set in stone and require some amount of actual figuring out to do on your own. It was nice to not be treated like a wife-beating retard like a lot of the Destiny 2 fanbase. While there are of course manlets who will complain that this quest is too difficult or too complex, I enjoyed the challenge. It made me feel something. The exotic itself is quite good. It's a lot of fun to use and also very, very unique looking. It's literally just like a circle blade, which is cool. I like that we're getting more interesting designs in this game, and I hope we get more like this. We also had the chess ARG thing setting up the new expansion, The Edge of Fate, which was also really cool to watch people figure out. No, I didn't participate, and I have no idea how to figure out this kind of shit. I leave it to the coke-fueled psychopaths like Mr. Waffle Waffles and Daddy Astacross to figure it out for me. I respect the work that goes into this stuff, and I enjoy that the Destiny community was able to work together to solve this puzzle. It really felt like we were finally united again to solve something like the days of old. While I wish this payoff was greater, this is enough. This final cutscene here is also really, really cool. From as far as I can tell, this is the first time that Bungie has integrated pre-rendered cutscenes with in-game cutscenes, and they do it so well. Big props to Bungie and the animation team. They did a great job. Thank God the episodes are over, and I never have to talk about this shit again.